Good morning, everyone. My nose had a tickle in it. Hi, hi, hi. I hope you're well. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I talk about how I lost 97.4 pounds after starting the ketogenic protocol and how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life, like I did. How's my lighting today? You know, I rely on you guys to give me feedback about how things look. Okie dokie. Get that out of there. I'm running a little late today, so I'm breathless. Um, Today's topic is keto safe, and if so, for how long? But first things first, Jack, who is to my left, is getting a treat. Go ahead. And he's going to go to his bed right over there. Old Jack. Um, for those of you who are new to this format, that we're on Crowdcaster, which is a pretty cool place. And you may pin comments if you wish. You can ask questions. I can show questions on the screen. First, let me tell you that how I learned and how I have practiced the ketogenic protocol for all these years, 11 and a half years I've been doing it. Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. That's total carbs, not net carbs. Why? Because net carbs just means more carbs. Eat fatty sources of protein, limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables, limited amounts of full-fat dairy, the vegetables and the dairy. You don't have to eat them if you don't want them. Don't eat if you're not hungry. It's key. Fortunately, when you start burning fat for fuel, when you cut back on the carbs, you start burning fat for fuel. Fortunately, hunger dissipates. But we have to relearn and get out of habits of eating. Stop eating when you've had enough. So there you go. Now, many people may have heard, and I've heard it. We've read it. It's touted by big health organizations and many medical doctors and yada 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 that burning fat for they don't say burning fat for fuel is not safe. They say that eating an animal-based diet is very dangerous. Why? What's the first word that probably comes to mind? If you have heard, oh, you can't do that, it's going to be certain death. Well, spoiler alert, death is certain. We just want to stave it off as long as possible. So do any of you have a guess what the first word that people bring up when they hear about the ketogenic protocol or keeping carbs low or enjoying a nice ribeye? Cholesterol. It is the word that pops in. Why? Cholesterol equals cardiovascular disease. Okay. First of all, cholesterol is not a disease at all. Every cell in the body requires cholesterol to exist. Without cholesterol in our system, we would be puddles. We would have long ago withered away. But it is a legitimate question, particularly after multiple generations of health advice that says, keep things low fat, don't eat red meat, that if you eat fat, it turns into fat. No. Eating broccoli doesn't turn you into broccoli. And that high cholesterol equals heart disease. Well, it's simply untrue on a lot. There are people with very low cholesterol numbers. I'm talking about the LDL here that people love to measure, right? And by the way, cholesterol, there's not a cholesterol. Cholesterol is made up of many components. And so the overall number that we are given after we have blood test, that cholesterol number is a mathematical calculation. And as Zoe Harcum has said, I'm paraphrasing here, I hope I'm getting it right. She said the overall cholesterol number is a mathematical equation based on 5 factors, 2 of which cannot be measured. So it's a calculation. More important is try to keep your triglycerides as low as possible and your HDL as high as possible. The LDL, not so important. But anyway, is it safe? You make your own decisions. I started this for my health. I'd given up on losing weight. By the way, one of my patrons made a snippet suggestion, and because I make morning videos every weekday morning, said, I've heard you say that keto is not a weight loss protocol. I don't think I've ever said that. I said I had given up on losing weight. I was doing it for my health. So anyway, how's that gone for me? Well, 11 and a half years ago, I was on the verge of everything bad. And I know the recommendations were going to be to me to start loading up on medications for these things: high blood pressure, high blood sugar. I was obese. I was actually morbidly obese. And I didn't feel good, and my joints hurt. All of them. So, you can probably think of 5 medications right there that, some providers would have suggested for me. I didn't want that. So I Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Solution is keep your carbs low. So I did that. The next time I ate, I just laid off the carbs. And that was 11 and a half years ago. I happened to have lost weight, but also my average blood sugar, and I've been charting it ever since I started this. When I got a glucometer. I didn't have one of those at the very beginning, but I got one. But since I've been tracking my blood sugar, it's averaging about 75. My ketones are averaging about 2.5. I use the Keto Mojo, by the way. If you go to my blog, you can get a link to the Keto Mojo in the sidebar. And it's one of the few things I actually put in the sidebar that I endorse, and I do endorse it. So I'm on no medications, none. And it's not just because I'm deciding not to have medications. It's because I don't need them. I don't have a situation that is requiring me to medicate. I don't have high blood sugar. I don't have high blood pressure. I rarely even get a headache anymore. And headaches were my constant companion. I'd buy the big Costco size bottles of naproxen sodium for headache. At one point, I had migraine, and that was terrible. I don't know how people function at work with migraine. But I have none of those now. I had chronic ulcerative colitis before. No, not anymore. So I'm not a doctor, but I am a human being who has experienced health issues like many people have. And I don't really have them now, at least not that I know of. I am aware that tomorrow is promised to no one. So I'm not going to brag about that. My husband started doing this about 6 months after I did, not because he had a weight issue or anything else. He heard the medical lectures that I was listening to, not influencers, YouTube lifestyle channels, medical lectures that were recorded and were being presented to, medical classes. He heard it. It made sense to him. So what are all the medications he's on right now? Let me think. None. Zero. We each take a teaspoon of cod liver oil, which I'll put a link to, the one we like from Amazon, lemon flavored, for the vitamin D. And is it DHA? I think it's the DHA. That's it. He takes magnesium. I don't take that anymore. So we're on no prescribed medications. Is keto healthy? For me, yes. Is it safe? Yes. If so, for how long? Well, 11 and a half years so far. I see no reason to make a change. If something happens, I'm open to listen. If something changes with me, I'm open to listening to that. But right now, I really don't see why I would make a change. And, it's not that I think the medical establishment is out to get us. It's not that I think, I think some medical providers do bring their own personal bias, or maybe just their lack of updated research. And medical providers, doctors, general GPs, etc., get almost no nutrition training through all those years of medical school. So what we ultimately have to do is listen to ourselves. I feel better doing this. I am healthier. I am happier. I feel better about myself mentally, and I certainly am better physically. That I can tell you unequivocally. Is it safe? It is for me. If so, for how long? I'll let you know. Check in next week. It'll be 11 and a half years in a week. So let's do our own research. And I know there's a lot of conflicting information out there. I mean, really, there's some people who dig their heels in. I don't know why that has to be. It is none of my business or interest. Another cookie for Jack. Jack's on no medications, by the way. And he's over 15. He's 15 and a half now. What was I going to say? Oh, if people feel better on plant-based, that's great. I don't. I actually felt like salad about 10 days ago. We went to Costco. So let's get some salad fixings. It's been a while. I'm not carnivore. I don't feel that plants are out to get us. Let's be realistic. If vegetables were out to kill us, the species would have died out long ago. But I ate salads, which I'm not used to, and it didn't suit me very well. I said, okay, I'm going to give my system a day or two to adjust. I'm just now getting back to normal. So I am learning as my body changes what to do. By the way, the texture of my hair has changed back to much like what it used to be. That I had nothing to do with. It's just the texture of my hair changed, and then it changed back. Our bodies are in flux. I'm going to feed my body the way that works best for me. You should do the same. And you might have to experiment. You might have to look askance at some so-called influencers who are saying some stuff and they think you need a bunch of supplements. Influencer. Ugh, what a bad word. Terrible. It's terrible. That's it. That's a career choice. I'm going to be an influencer. No. We need to get our noses out of the computers, out of the devices, and into our lives. And that's why there'll be more Beyond Keto with Casey videos coming. Because the whole point of doing this, of feeling better, is to live our lives. Is keto safe? It is for me. If so, for how long? At least 11 and a half years. And I hope it is for you. Now, I'm going to turn my attention to the lovely folks who are here. I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate y'all sharing I'm going to move this light source. That's too bright. Allowing me to share my Saturday with you and you with me. So let's go. Nadja, let me scroll back up. Oh, good. Okay. Karen, do you mind if I'm going to post questions on the screen. I hope no one minds. And Karen, I do want to hear from you. Karen writes, good morning, everyone. So lovely out this morning, filling the bird feeders and changing the chicken water. They love to turn it into mud. Now, Karen, you're a new chicken keeper. We have a watering system. Because, chickens they'll step right in the water. Ugh, and they'll poop in it, and then they'll try to drink it. So we have a watering system. Maybe I'll try to send you pictures of it. There's a rain barrel that is filled from the guttering system, just like a rain barrel for your house. And then my husband rigged up PVC pipe coming out this way, PVC pipe coming this way. And you can get they're called chicken waterers or nipples. He drilled into the PVC and they peck at them and get their water. So it's always clean. Okay. They do love to turn it into mud. Okay, there we go. And Kimberly writes, good morning from East Tennessee, where a taste of fall is in the air. Lucky you. I am wearing something a little bit longer because this morning the temperature is different here than it was. We are east of Tennessee. And Nadja Newhall writes, good morning from Germany. It feels like fall here as well. Nadja, do you live in Germany or do you travel to Germany? Because I know you've mentioned it before. Yes, I think many of us will welcome autumn. Okay. Kimberly writes, I purchased the cod liver oil a couple of weeks ago and started taking it. I was pleasantly surprised that it has a nice taste. Now, we get the Carlson, I don't know if it's organic, Carlson cod liver oil. I can't, there's another describer there. If you go to my blog, it will be listed under my favorites. And as well as at my blog, you can see things like, because I get asked what kind of makeup I use, what kind of water kettle we like, my Tibetan singing bells when I get my meditation on, all the things that I actually like. What you won't find are links to powders and pills and exogenous ketones. But I'll show you what books I'm reading. And a friend of mine uses, when she remembers, she uses the cod liver oil. She uses it for her salad dressing. A little cod liver oil and a little vinegar. And that really masks the taste. I don't mind it. I mean, I've gotten used to it. Scusi. Okay. I want to read what Karen has to say as well. Karen writes, it's safe for me. The older I get, the more my PCP recommends more protein, and that fits perfectly on the keto protocol. PCP, primary care physician. Karen, if you want to, I would love to hear how you're doing with your life. And I'm so happy that you got the chickens, but do try to get the water away from the chickens' feed, because they're not the brightest animals on the face of the earth. And Kimberly writes, I love your Beyond Keto videos and look forward to more of them. Thank you. I've got a lot of footage. I just need to get it together. And Nanja writes, you look great. Well, thank you very much. Kimberly writes, I agree. You look especially beautiful today. Well, thank you very much. There's a British guy that he's not been in a while. He likes to comment under my vids every now and again. Keto makes you look old and tired. Not me. He's not saying. He said keto makes people look old and tired. Well, thank you, Clive. I know it's okay. I can't, I want to look as well as I can look, but I'm getting older. There was a line from a show. These two people were talking with each other, and they're both older gentlemen. It says, I'm starting to. It's too bad because I'm starting to, no, something like that. I don't want to feel my age, or something. And the other one says, you know what makes you feel your age? Your age. You're old. Yeah, I messed that up. Okay. Karen writes, it's okay to share, Casey. Please send me a photo of the water or solution. I will do. I also bought the Carlson brand, writes Kimberly. If you get it from my blog, I'll get a little taste. Not of cod liver oil, but from Amazon. I traveled to Germany to be with my mom. I live in Kentucky. Well, there's a little bit of culture shock, I bet. That's nice that you get to do that. So Karen, who is always upbeat, is really struggling with personal situation right now. Her husband is at home under hospice care. So we will all keep a good thought for that. And amazingly, Karen has a very positive attitude. So we will send good vibes to Karen via the universe. Kimberly writes, this is off topic, but I just love the lighting in your room. Can you share some links for those? Oh, okay. I like purples and blues. I find them calming. And so I got most of these, like that little string of lights. They're right there. There we go. Almost all of them came from Amazon. And then I have these little puck lights that have different colors you can put. And then I have some, you can't see them. Let me see. These are from plants, but because of the camera, the can't see the plants are green, but the lights are in different colors. I'm going to take some of them down to Columbia with me, or get some, because I do find them calming. And I have a little shrine. If you can see, there. I think I posted. Oh, I do. Those orb lights, those are on my blog under my faves. And they have different colors as well. So I have a little altar, I will say. There's two of those, you can't see the one on either side. Then a couple of plants, and then there's a statue of the Virgin Mary that was given to me by my godmother, who was French, and she brought it home from Lourdes. So it's been blessed. And I'm raised Catholic, so the imagery suits me. Karen writes, thanks. I have great family support and worked in hospice for 20 years. So, day to day. Karen, if I knew that about you, I forgot it. Okay, I'm going to say it then. I'll just say it. I don't think it matters whether you are religious, agnostic, atheist, or what religion you might find. People who work in hospice are doing the Lord's work. I tell you what a giving spirit you have to have. And what a blessing to those people who require it. One of my brothers had a hospice come in for him as he passed. He had a glioblastoma, astrocytoma, multiform brain tumor. And he went downhill pretty quickly. But I've had friends who've been in hospice. There's a wonderful facility here. And it's just so caring. And such guidance, right? That you receive from the people who've been there, seen it so many times. Nadja writes, Dear Karen, I will pray for you and your family. I know very well what you are going through, as I have been through it recently. Kimberly writes, Karen, you and your husband will be in my prayers. Absolutely, 100%. Casey writes, Nadja, the Lord's work. Karen writes, thanks, everyone. On my bookshelf, and it's actually on my blog, why I'm talking about my blog so much today. It's one of the things on my blog is behind the scenes is what I'm reading. And then it shows all the books not all the books I've read, but there's one called How We Die, written by a medical doctor. And it sounds like a grim topic, but it's not really. And this doctor had his own evolution of thought from being a young intern to a young practicing doctor to seeing so many people. It's an interesting read, and I highly recommend it. And then I read things like Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. So I like to get a lot of stuff in. So, and Karen, I know you are doing this to be as healthy as possible. JCK is looking for another cookie, but I gave him what I had. That's it. But he knows. See, now when I set up the computer here, he starts standing at my side even before I hit launch, go live. He's like, okay, that means I want to get a cookie. So, very often we put blinders on about our own health. We don't want to know sometimes. We don't want to go to the doctor because we don't want to get the results of the test. I mean, I would avoid going to the doctor. And I've heard this from other people. It's like, I can't wait for my next checkup. Show the doctor what I've done. And you know what? That has impacted some doctors. They keep saying over and over, okay, all right. Our doctor, my husband and I go to the same one. She was skeptical. And now she's like, still doing the keto. That's great. Keep it up. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. But we put on blinders because we don't want to know. And we think, well, I'll take care of that. I'll worry about that. I'm still young. Well, by definition, none of us are as young as we were a month ago or a year ago or 5 years ago. And a lot of the things that get us hold please. No, I'm good. It's okay. My husband did not sign on to be on camera. This was totally my thing. And it's not that he's painfully shy, and he's very good looking. But like I said, it's not his thing, but he's getting Jack a cookie. Okay, so there we go. What's that saying? Oh, many of the things that plague us are chronic situations. What that means is they're not acute, they're chronic. They develop over time, sometimes lots of time. It's not the first pack of cigarettes that gets you, it's the 4,000th. It takes time to develop lung cancer. It takes time to develop, well, not as much time as it used to develop type 2 diabetes. It takes time to develop blood pressure issues. Some of these can be impacted by genetics or an actual disease. It's not like it's not like breaking your leg. That's an acute situation. But we think we have time, and hopefully we do. But if we keep on doing what we were doing before, and we're not feeling as well as we used to feel, something's got to give. So what's not safe? Type 2 diabetes. It's not safe. And it's certainly not safe for long. And it's preventable and it's addressable. Lay off the carbs. If you are taking insulin for type 2 diabetes, you're going to cut your carbs way down, you must do this under supervision. Because one of the first things that can happen is the insulin becomes too strong and you have hypoglycemia, which is more of an acute situation, believe it or not, than hyperglycemia. Hypoglycemia can send you very sick very quickly, within hours. So you have got to do this under supervision if you're taking insulin. If some of your friends or other ones are concerned that if you eat that, now, and by the way, this is not a high-fat diet. We do not need to be pounding back fat. It's just not low fat. And you don't need to eat, a 2 pounds ribeye. No, that's too much. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop eating when you've had enough. And how do you know when you've had enough? Eat slowly and let the food have time to get down your gullet, for one thing, and let the leptin, satiety hormone, have time to send the signal to your brain that you've had enough. Eat slowly. It works. So this is not eat as much food as you possibly can, as long as it's, animal-based. No. And you don't have to eat beef or eggs. You can do this beautifully by eating fish and seafood and, poultry if that's your thing. It's just lay off the carbs. That's the thing. It's not what you do put in your mouth so much as what you don't put in your mouth. For me, it's safe. For other people here, okay, I want to share this. Karen writes, thanks everyone. We live till we die, but I want to live in good health and active as long as I can. I'm sure you all feel the same. No one can disagree with that. No one can disagree with that. And I don't want to be a burden to my lovely mate. All because I didn't want to give up tortilla chips. I don't want that. He doesn't want to be a burden to me. I don't want to be a burden to anyone, frankly. And I want to be as healthy and as active as I can until my time has come. And it will come, as it does to us all. Kimberly writes, absolutely, Karen. And Teresa Rutherford, writes, hold please. Teresa Rutherford writes, it has taken me a while, but I have finally felt what true hunger feels like. That is great. And isn't it different? At least for me, actual hunger is different than what I thought was hunger when I was a sugar burner. That was my brain telling me to get more glucose, thereby, so eat more carbs. But my brain didn't care. Once I stopped eating the carbs so much, my body started burning ketone bodies or fat for fuel. My brain loves it. And I got smart again. my brain came back. But it is different. And the thing about when we are, if we've been burning, I have to bend my knees. I lock my knees when I'm standing here. And then when I start, I get all woozy. We find that we're eating out of habit, not even out of hunger. So I have a sticker. Are you here out of hunger or out of habit? And it's a refrigerator. Because we do often eat out of habit. So I had to work on that. I pretty much have. I had to learn what actual hunger felt like. I pretty much have. I'm peckish right now. I'm pretty peckish. I'm probably going to eat right after this. But some days I don't eat until 1:30 in the afternoon. Not every day is different. My body changes, and my body is different than your body. And you should be thankful for that. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of your day. Karen, good thoughts your way. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. And I hope you will continue to do so. And God willing, if the creek don't rise, I'll see you next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here. Ciao.